Why is it important to address stress in wellness coaching? Well, according to the American Medical Association, chronic stress contributes to around 80 to 85% of all illnesses and diseases. This is true for both chronic disease and even communicable diseases, since stress negatively impacts our immune systems. And when we're under stress, we may have behaviors such as not getting enough sleep, a poor diet, or smoking that make us more vulnerable to illnesses. Stress can be either physical, like when a gazelle is trying not to become lunch for a lion, or psychological, like when we feel completely overwhelmed or out of control of our lives. Like all creatures, our bodies are wonderfully designed to deal with physical stress. Our brains trigger the release of all sorts of hormones and chemicals that give our brain the awareness and our bodies the energy to escape from a predator. But humans, for the most part, are the only creatures who experience real or even imagined psychological stress. And those same chemicals and hormones impact our bodies, but if they go on for too long, they cause harm both physically and emotionally. So most of our clients will be experiencing psychological rather than physical stress. And psychological stress can come from a lot of different situations that we all face. For instance, not having an outlet for frustration, like making sure we've got time for vigorous exercise, or other ways to release tension can stress us out. And not having social support during stressful times can also be very difficult. Feeling a lack of control over our lives or a particular situation, or having an unpredictable stress is very common. And sometimes we might even feel a high level of stress just from anticipating or imagining a stressful event. For instance, when we have to go have a shot, we can feel that pain before the needle even hits our arm. While there are excellent tips on how to cope with or alleviate stress, it's also really important to focus upstream on the causes of stress and find ways to reduce or control those triggers. So your client may come to you with a specific concern about dealing with stress, but also they may want to work on some lifestyle changes. And stress is a really big factor in a lot of unhealthy behavioral habits. So it's really important to bring stress into the conversation during your appreciative inquiry and motivational interviewing. And it's also pretty important to recognize that your client may feel more stress from trying to change a habit, such as when they're working on quitting smoking or changing their diet. So feeling out of control and overwhelmed is a really common stressor, and fortunately there are some ideas that can help empower us to have more predictability and management over our lives. First, we can set boundaries for ourselves and even for others, especially at times when we're under extraordinary stress. By being proactive and letting others know that you're dealing with a difficult or challenging situation, you can set a boundary, such as when you have a big project that you're working on or a tough family situation, you're letting others know ahead of time that you need time to focus on your situation. Also, don't be afraid to ask others for help with tasks that you might normally do, but things that you can delegate. It's really easy to assume that others will see that you're really busy, but that isn't always the case. And finally, don't be afraid to say no, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed. Second, there's only so much time in a day, so when your life feels really overwhelming, you want to make sure that you're spending that time on things that really matter. So one way that I like to do this is to have a 5-minute meeting with myself every morning. Make a list of what you feel needs to be done, and then prioritize those tasks into things that have to happen today, things that have to happen in the near future, and things that you can either ignore for now or even delegate. But make sure that your priorities are in alignment with relevant expectations of others, like your boss. Finally, be realistic about what is really in your control and what might not be. If your client's experiencing stress over something that's totally out of their control, try reframing the situation so that they can use coping skills or recognizing even that they can't control something. Also, having your client reflect on a past stressful event and how they managed through it, and helping them remember their character strengths and how they can be used can be very helpful. For instance, someone with strong leadership strength would be able to use those skills to delegate and even rally others for help. Set some small, attainable, and measurable experiments in setting boundaries, such as, I will let my mom know that I will be calling only once a day for right now. Or, I will make a list of only 3 things that I need to do today. Finally, it's important to remember that we all need some stressors and frustration in our lives. Otherwise, we get really bored. Our brains need the challenge and reward of working through stressors. And that is the importance of what's called eustress, which is also flow.
First, schedule an hour for yourself every day. Giving yourself an hour of dedicated time to focus on what makes you thrive and brings you joy in that moment can set yourself up for a more positive day with different opportunities than what could have been possible before. Days change, and so can your hour of self-love. Be kind to yourself, switch it up, and know that your self-care can change depending on what you may need in that day, which can bring more balance into your life in various forms. Also, create self-care alarms. If you have a very busy schedule, do your best to plan for at least a half an hour and make an alarm to ensure that you are able to keep up with your self-care schedule. The second is to listen to your body. It is important to listen to what your body may need at that time and change it up to flow with your day. Our bodies speak to us more than we realize or we give credit for. If we need to take a break and not work out for a day or take a genuine day of relaxation, it is essential to honor that. Give your mind the space to be observant of what you may need as the ebb and flow of life fluctuates. The third is to make necessary changes that will service you and not others. It is so easy to push ourselves when it is in the light of the ones that we care about. But we need to remember that we cannot be our best selves for others unless we show up to be the best for ourselves first. Going in line of making and committing to your boundaries, take a moment to reevaluate your needs. If your day is being driven by the motivation of others, take a step back and see if that aligns with your values and your best self. Don't be afraid to make the changes that could make a positive impact on your day and your overall life. These simple changes that keep personal care at top priority allow for your values to align more with your true self and provide space for significant growth in many different aspects of life.
The visual effects of light and color has the ability to invoke biological and psychological changes that can alter an individual's health and well-being. Because the biological response to light can improve or disrupt our mood, circadian rhythms, and quality of sleep, individuals can harness these effects to their advantage. Studies reflect that blue-colored lighting accelerates relaxation after exposure to a stressor in comparison to white lighting. A 2017 study demonstrated that 83% of participants reported feeling significantly more relaxed after 3 to 5 minutes in a blue light-exposed room. Many train platforms, such as ones in Scotland and Gatwick, are adopting blue-colored lighting to reduce stress for commuters. Japanese train companies are experimenting with incorporating blue-colored lighting at train stations as an effort to reduce the rate of suicides. Blue-hued light disrupts melatonin and can boost productivity, making it a suitable option for daytime stress relief in an office environment. Warm-colored lighting, such as reds and oranges, have been shown to uplift mood, promote intimacy, and create a sense of comfort and relaxation. The use of red light in the evening is a great way to unwind after a stressful day. Red light has been shown to increase melatonin release and promote a better night's sleep, encouraging overall well-being. Red light therapy is a biochemical technique that uses low-level wavelengths of infrared light to reach skeletal muscle tissue, which is used to promote muscle and tissue recovery and wound healing. Enhancing your environment with colored lighting that's suitable to one preference can create a relaxing space that promotes well-being. A great way to optimize an environment is to declutter. Entering a decluttered, messy room can pose unnecessary stress that can go unnoticed. A study published by the Journal of Neuroscience found that having multiple stimuli placed in front of you results in those stimuli competing for your attention, causing distraction, stress, and unproductivity. The decision to remove unwanted clutter and filter your wants and needs is an empowering step towards self-discovery that prevents unnecessary stress in the future. Studies show that being exposed to natural environments and green spaces can reduce stress and improve overall health. Some lifestyles make it difficult to physically spend time outdoors and reap the benefits of being immersed in nature. Texas A&M University psychiatry researcher Bradley Bogdan states that simply viewing representations of nature can help reduce stress. Many hospitals use fake skylights to emulate a natural, calm environment. Incorporating nature-themed elements such as plants, aquariums, pictures, and greenery into one's work and living space can significantly help reduce stress and boost well-being. People exist in the context of their environment. A person's environment directly impacts how a person thinks, feels, and acts. Immersing oneself in sensory experiences can intentionally manipulate a state of being. Being confronted by sound, scents, and colors can bypass anxiety from demanding tasks and stressful circumstances. Incorporating intentional sensory immersion can trigger relief from routine demands, encouraging someone to become present in the current moment by allowing a sense of pleasure and happiness.